Hey, what's up? It's Brett. I just posted a few videos recently. That's the kind of stuff that helped me to actually progress at guitar. Like I said in a few videos, what I thought was progressing at guitar was always learning other people's songs. And then I got around really good musicians. I taught at a music school when I was still a beginner, and it exposed me a lot. It made me realize I didn't know very much. And a lot of times in between lessons, they would just be like, hey, check this out. And then they'd be like, oh, like try this and play over this, or they'd say, oh, check out this 1-4-5, and I'm gonna substitute in a different chord. And I realized I didn't, even though I could play hard songs from tab, I didn't really know what was happening. And then they would give me like little exercises to do, or they would challenge me. And when I taught guitar, I didn't actually do that very much. I tried to make my students excited, so I would teach them what they wanted to know. But if they got to a certain point, like to become an intermediate guitar player, you need to know this stuff. One other thing is I'm going to put timestamps in the video so people could skip ahead. Thanks to someone, Henry, for that tip. I didn't realize it actually embeds it in the video now, which is pretty cool. So anyway, this is the kind of stuff that was taught to me. And the first thing is knowing your scales. And secondly, try to use your ear and watch someone play versus tab. So we're going to do C major because it's the easiest key. And I would always encourage people to start there. That's the white keys on the piano. So see if you can do what I'm doing and not think, oh, I need a tab for this. And if you can play this, then that's great. You're probably already intermediate. And this video is going to get progressively harder. And this is stuff that's like so easy to me at this point because you need to know this stuff. It's kind of like the multiplication tables when you're learning math or building up and you're getting into like algebra. You need to know that. You can't do calculus really if you don't know algebra and stuff like that. So here we go. So we're going to do C major. So we're gonna go, well, I'm gonna play it and see if you can copy it. So ready? And I'm on the B string. So try to notice which string I'm on. I'm not always gonna call stuff out. This video is gonna get harder as it goes. We're starting easy. Okay, now see if you can do it with your eyes closed and don't care about making mistakes. That's the other thing. If you stop caring about hitting the wrong notes and learn to recover, you'll get better at guitar much faster. You'll notice people make mistakes in live shows all the time. They just recover really quick. But if you learn it, you can see it. It happens like every show, even good guitar players. So. It's actually harder to do that on a single string than sometimes like in one spot. Okay. Now if I asked you where's a C, like we're gonna drop down an octave, can you do it? Well, here's one way to do it. You do like a C shape right there. So let's try the same thing down here. Remember, you might hit the wrong note, but try it. Ready? Okay, so one trick is, how do you know how to play a major scale? Well, there is a pattern to it, and over time you'll kind of sense which note to go to next, but it goes whole, whole, half, whole, 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 half. So you skip a note, you skip a note, that's a whole. So it goes whole, whole, half, whole, 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 half. But what happens is you build intuition the more you do it. You can find books on scales if you want, but honestly, what helped me was just sitting there and learning to do this stuff. Like looking at my guitar, not at tabs, not at chord charts, just with the guitar. And if you want, you can say the notes. C, D, E, F, G, A, B, C, C, B, A, G, F, E, B, C. Let's go somewhere else. So we went from here to here. What about another octave? If you want to go up, you can go over 2 up 2. Now we're here on the 5th fret, this is the same note as this. Would also try to learn how to like take any note and go this way or up. there's a pattern to it, and you just got to practice it. It's not that hard. So here's that C, and we went down to here, and go up to this one. So here's C on the G string. Right there, like honestly up here, sometimes my brain doesn't see the notes. Like some places on guitar, I could just see the notes all the time. Up here, I don't really play as much. If I play a lot, I start to see the notes. Like you're gonna just visualize them on the guitar fretboard. All right. Now what if you wanna go down further? We should have done that before with the other one, so watch. What about another C? Well, we could go over 2, up 2, but because we crossed the B string, it doesn't sound right. So you've got to go over 1. So one thing is, just remember, you just use your ear. Music's about hearing. You can tell that's not right. So here, over 2, up 2. Sounds right. Whenever you hear that tension, you're usually close. So that's the one thing, is when you make a mistake on guitar, a lot of times you're 1 note off, sounds the worst, but you could just... right there. So that's the 8th fret, which is 2 octaves above this. So far we went like, now we're here. So see if you can go up to the right. You might not be able to go that far, but you can go like, maybe up to the 15th where G is. Let's see if you can go all the way down. And then we could go down here. I think we did every string. We went. So the B string, A string. Did we miss one string maybe? Maybe we missed the D string. G. And over 2, up 2, you can go to the D string. Do this one. Here's C. One trick I use is like, you can spot the 12th fret, and if you know the names of the strings, this is D, so C is here. This C is the same as that. Listen. If you can't do this, you need to learn how to do this by ear. Pick a note, like you get open E. You'll be able to find it. Just be able to find it by ear, just going in. Same note. I'm not looking at the frets. No matter how good you get at guitar, you need to use your ear. That's what I learned. I used to blindfold myself and play, which is fun actually. Or change the tuning so you don't know what the notes are and play by ear. So we're gonna do it here. So D is the same as that. Why don't we go backwards, because we kind of ran out of space. So we did C scales on every string. Now a lot of teachers, they like to teach these scales. I would heavily recommend going and learning them. I want to teach something else today, but go find some major scales you can find online, and then you can do the same thing, find the note. Play them different ways. We're not going to do that today. I went through a phase where I did a lot of scales like that. I think it is useful, but not today. If I was going to recommend something that helped me the most though, one teacher I had would make me do every lesson. We'll show this one and then we'll go on to something more interesting, because I think scales are cool, but if you want to sort of see how stuff's connected, I actually find like learning, first you got to know where the notes are, that's why we did that, and then using little chords and little smaller shapes versus the whole scale, I found more helpful. But one thing I had a teacher make me do, a few teachers actually, is put 3 notes on each string and you play the notes of that scale. So we're gonna do C, we'll start here. What you do is you have to always have 3 notes on a string. So you go like, the next note would be, so C, D, E. No need this one. You gotta go up a string. You do 3 notes on a string, and it's good because you will start to use your ear because you realize to memorize everything is too hard. And then the one thing that's nice about guitar versus piano, and we're gonna get into something else, is we can just slide stuff around. We just move shapes around. So like, as long as you can start to do that, then you're like, all right, the key instead of C, let's make D major. You don't even have to know anything about D major, you just play the same pattern. Which is not true on piano. It is true on other stringed instruments. You can play in terms of shapes. But I've noticed that like violin, I played for a bit, you don't think that way really. You're playing more melodies, you do need to know the notes. But piano, you can't just shift like that. So that's an advantage we have as guitar players. So if you can learn to use your ear, a lot of times you don't really care what the key is, you're using the shapes and the patterns, which is nice. So try that 3 notes per string, and you have to move up and down. You can do it for any scale, but usually major. I used to do just, you just kind of try to use your ear and hear the major scale. All right, so here I'm gonna get into something more interesting. So this is supposed to be intermediate level, so I'm gonna take it up a notch, and I'm just gonna play something. And this is also how I used to learn, as my teacher just, like I said, the music school, I'd be like, dude, check this out. And I would have to just play it first and then process what's happening. So I was playing this today, and a lot of times it would just be random stuff that they saw, like, hey, I was just playing, teaching the song, like, look at this is cool. And they like really like John Mayer, actually. They didn't like his lyrics so much and the vibe, but they were impressed with his guitar. Little tips, and they'd show me something, or it could be from anything. So here we go. So this is C. Let's see if you can understand kind of what's happening. Ready? I was going to start with this, but I figured I would do the basics first. Oops, I made a mistake. I could hear it. Oh, well, I'll start over. That wedding song, I think. So earlier I was just noodling around. I thought, a lot of times I just don't use stuff very much. So can you spot what these shapes are? So if I saw this, if you want to learn it, first you can use your ear. Notice it's like a power chord, but I'm on the D string. So don't really care what it is for a second. So it's 10 and 12, I'll tell you the tab, and 12, and I'm never using the B string, right? So it's like a power chord, 10 and 12, and then 12. See that? The power chord. And this is a C major chord, I'll tell you that, this is C. So learn that first. Now what shape is this? Can you tell? Like, if I was doing this, you might be able to guess it's from that shape, or if I was doing this, you kind of see it's from like a G shape. This one might not stand out as much. This is like the D major shape. If you slid it all the way up here. So I don't know if you've ever tried to move that shape around. I find it's a little awkward. I don't really like to do it. I usually just play the top of it. Or I'll do this sometimes. But then you're omitting one of the roots. So it's like the 1, 5, 1, and the third. We're omitting it, but this is kind of a cool shape because then you can actually, you can kind of riff off of it, right? So that's C, so here we go. What is that? If the chord sounds unfamiliar, maybe you don't know. That's a diminished chord. So we're going the 1 chord to the 7. So this, notice what I would see is this note went down 1. And then look at the shape, it's more compressed, but my finger stayed the same. So I moved, and then these slid over. So it's like a power chord, but it got smushed together. But these fingers slid over. So what I would try to do is just learn it first and then think about what's happening. 10, 12, 12, 9, 10, 10. But notice I just went. Now this is the root of the chord, the flat 5 and the flat 3. Sounds pretty cool. Then, this is the one I screwed up. This one you gotta use your middle finger up here. So now I'm going 7, 9, 8. And what chord is that, if you had to guess? It's kind of like the major, it's 1 note change, which is usually a sign that it went from major to minor. It still has a power chord in the bass. The only chord that's the flat 5 diminished is a 7. So it's a minor chord. And then the question would be, where's the root? Well, if I put this note, you might be able to see it. It's this shape. This is B, this is A, so this is A minor. You slid this D minor all the way, the root's here. All right? You slid it up to here. But remember, we're omitting the B string, so it looks like that. It's pretty useful. Like I said, a lot of times I know this stuff, and then what I do to make up new songs, I usually have some constraint, like, oh, I'll try to use this shape. like I've been using that chord a lot. It sounds kind of tense right there, but this diminished kind of flat 5 sound. So I'll try to, on purpose, come up with something. So like this morning, I was just jamming around with this. Right? So it goes. So notice these fingers just slide down. They don't leave the strings. This one toggles a little bit. So that's 7, 9, 8, which is A minor. And then I went to here, which now we're back to the same shape as before. So where's the root? It's right here. And omitted right there, which is G. So, and then down to here, it's the same shape again, a whole step down. So it went from G to F. This is F, power chord, then the 3rd. And the last one, this is E minor. It's kind of a weird way to play E minor. You can actually play E minor like this. If you want every string, like a different voicing than this. Which again is this chord. This D minor, a lot of people know, just slid over. This is D, E. Every voicing of the chord is going to sound different. That's where guitar becomes more intermediate and fun. And as you get more advanced, it just gets crazier and crazier. So we go. Sounds like the wedding song. This is going down, like on a piano, it'd be super easy. It'd be the white keys, like dee 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 dee. It's not super basic because it goes 1, 5, and then the 3rd. So it's not just like skipping notes like on a piano. But anyway, one other thing I would try to do is then, since I was showing the top, so try to learn that. You could call it the chords if you want: C major, B diminished, A minor, G major, F, E minor. You could go to D minor, it just doesn't sound good. I guess if you go down to C, it sounds cool, but you could. So if you go down to here, that sounds kind of cool. So it goes C major, B diminished, A minor, G, F, E minor. If you want to keep going, D minor, C. But I thought it sounded cool to stop E minor and go back up. F, G. Now what about the top chord? Could you do this now? So we're going to get rid of that bottom note. And a lot I've seen guitars omitting notes and be able to see the shapes. So then we're gonna go C. So this one's gonna be like this. So it's gonna go. Major shape. The diminished shape is going to be like this. We're going to have B. And then the flat 5 is there. So this kind of looks like the top of a 7 chord, which there's similarities between diminished and 7 chords, dominant 7 shapes. So it goes like that. 12 there, 10 at the bar, minor, 10, 8, and that is 9. That's like a D minor shape, just moved up. So probably the hardest thing is going to be to go from here to here, and then back to major. Okay. Like I said, I guess you could kept going down. I thought it sounded better to stop at E minor. Okay. And we'll do one final thing that's more advanced. And what's funny is like a lot of people can play a lot of tabs, but if you teach them something like this, it makes them very uncomfortable. So I'd be surprised if people make it this far through the video, but I'm trying to put out some content that actually is the stuff that helped me. But I noticed that my brain would feel tired when I tried to do this because tab is so easy. It's like, here's exactly what to play. You get that immediate satisfaction, typically of this sounds like a song I like, but like I've said it in lessons recently that I've posted, that's not what actually helped me get good at guitar. And I'm tempted to start putting some videos where I show the chord chart. I could do that, it'll take longer, but I don't mind. I've been video editing, but in a certain way, that's not really what's helpful. You need to sit there and figure this out. That's what I had to do. And get comfortable noodling around with the guitar and figuring it out. So what's the more advanced step? We'll see if you can make like a riff off of it. So watch, here's kind of what I was doing earlier. So ready? So yeah, we'll start with the C, we'll go back to this shape. But now you know there's this here too. I just kind of pick around. I'm picking some notes around the chord until I find something that sounds cool, and then I'll usually turn that into something. Oh, I got it. I liked. I like this part. That sounds pretty cool. So it's a C, diminished, A minor, diminished. Now what I'll do when I find something, now what I'm kind of thinking is I'm gonna move it, so watch. We want to diminish though, so watch. So diminished chord down here. This is like one way to do it. I'm hitting B, F, D. Hit the, it wouldn't really hurt to hit the G. It's not in the chord, but so look. It's actually the same as that. It's the same voicing. So watch, ready? So we're gonna go. I'm gonna hit the E string. I'm doing a C chord. This is definitely more advanced. I said it was gonna get harder as it went, but this is how I learned. People were way better than I was, and they start simple and they show me this crazy stuff to me at the time, which this isn't that hard, but this is definitely getting more advanced. So it's a C. So just slide to the E or just pick it. I think I'm just gonna pick it because I want to be able to strum, watch. Sounds pretty cool. And I've never played that in my life. That exact chord progression down here. So what I do a lot is I'll learn something somewhere else on the guitar and I'll kind of port it back to here. And then one other thing I like to do is make like bass lines, but first let me do this. So I'm borrowing up onto the F. C, F, E, D, C, B diminished, E, D, C, B. So it's the same as here. I made a mistake, but who cares? You can just use your ear, and then if you really want to master it, turn it into a song, yeah, you get the mistakes out, but when you're making up stuff, I make mistakes all the time. Sounds pretty cool. Diminished Shape I was trying to use the other day and then led me up to here. So it's kind of weird. Like I was like, why don't I use diminished more? Because I've been using this diminished in a lot of songs, and the key of D on, I've been using the flat 5 on the 4 chord a lot in the key of D. Like, just kind of something I've been exploring that's different. That's like within diatonic chords that I just hadn't used. And I'm like, oh, this is kind of cool. So here we go. Then we're gonna do the bass and that'll be it probably. A minor, diminished, da 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 da, da 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 da, do 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 do. Funny, that's the same voicing. Okay, one other thing I like to do, because typically I like to play it on here or here, not up here. And I'm more of a rhythm guitarist. I mean, if I make up multi-track songs, I can make up some solos, but definitely my interest has always been more solo guitar playing, like totally by yourself, so you have to play more rhythm stuff. But one other thing I like to do is say like, okay, what was the idea, and turn into a bass line, so. Why do I like to do that? Because I like to spend time down here. A lot of times if I can translate a melody into a bass line, I can discover more stuff. And I like songs that are like within the parameters of normal, but are kind of intriguing. And I'd say like the best band for that actually is the Beatles. So I don't really like to listen to the Beatles, but whenever I would learn their songs, I would learn a lot of stuff. And Elliott Smith actually is very creative within like normal stuff, and he was a big Beatles fan. So the Beatles are crazy creative within sort of normal music, but I had one teacher, he said that they would steal a lot of stuff from jazz, which I don't know if steal is the right word, but to him it was more like, because he was a jazz player, he could see where it was coming from, but he thought it was cool what they would do. He was less impressed by it than I was and would be today, but that's because most of the music I like is like very minimalist and simple. At one point I was going down the jazz path, and I'm like, I don't listen to jazz, I'd rather learn stuff that helps me. I always liked like Radiohead and Modest Mouse, and you know, Radiohead has some jazz type elements, but it's not like jazz music. So anyway, here's the bass line. So like the bass line would be the boom, 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 boom. So how did I do that so fast? That's just from experience, but essentially I'm putting the root note. If you think about it, you could play exactly like that and then it would be a little different. It would be, but there's also an octave skip, so what I was kind of doing was thinking of the top notes. Down, 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 down. That's what I wanted in my bass line, but I was like, why don't I just add the root right below? And one reason I'm doing that is so like in the future, if I want to connect these chords with something different, I can. Or I could just go boom, boom, boom. Dun, 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 dun. It's not as interesting, but what I'm doing is going C, because the first chord was C, so C. And I'm playing that little 2-note major chord. Because I know in the future I'm going to want to try to incorporate this idea into a bass line down here, and that's probably, it'll be over like a C chord. I mean, I'll be thinking of a C when I do it. So basically what I'm saying is you can learn stuff in different spots and then connect it, and then you're spreading your knowledge through the guitar. So there we go. want to do is sort of like jam on it for a second and then try to see if I can come up with something. So. Basically, I haven't found something yet. For some reason, when I was playing, I really like this. So sometimes, like, when I'm moving stuff around, something else just pops into my mind. But I'm still going to go back to that riff. I just sort of see where it's going to lead, but... Bum, 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 bum. Maybe I can incorporate it up to there, actually. So it was like... So I wanted to pull out. Why not? Like that. Oops. Sometimes when I'm learning something new, I screw up. I'll just turn into muscle memory for a second. This is where the 3-note thing comes in. You know, kind of pick. Now what about if I move it up here? It's actually the same voicing as below. Because the guitar is smaller up here, I'm going to do the same thing for a second. Sometimes, like, depending on where you're on the guitar, you got to kind of do this. And so that's what I was saying earlier about practicing your scales. I found learning stuff and then doing this, but I did also practice this for years, the 3-note thing, so. diminished. That's over the A minor. Right there, I was just hearing another melody in my mind. So the more you play guitar or any instrument, I remember I played drums for a few years or violin, you start to like hear it, at least for me, it was a good sign if I could start to hear it in my mind, like while I was doing it, or if I was driving around and just pick out the part on the radio. But right there, as I was playing the other thing, I started hearing the boom, boom, boom. Single note. So all I'm doing is I'm hitting the fifth. So maybe what I would try to translate that to is down here. Really, that's all I'm doing up higher. There, I went to the third. So I heard it going. Oops, so it went. It's just going down. It's really boring. It's just descending. But when I hear stuff in my mind, I try to figure it out on guitar. Because if you think about it, in music, you're expressing what's coming out of your brain typically, if you're making up stuff, not just copying. So now I have a bunch of riff ideas, so here's kind of what I got going. I got C. Dun, 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 muscle memory comes back in. That. And then what really helps me is singing and making up. If I really want to make a song, I have to sing, even if it turns into an instrumental. It's weird, like I have to hum or something and hear something there. Even if I'm not actually humming, I somehow have some connection to something in my mind that's more of a deeper melody or something. Like something like that stands out. It's kind of like an experience. If I go onto the beach to surf or do something, I usually have like 1 or 2 memories of the day, or it's forgettable. So something stood out to me. A lot of times for me, if I attach some words, even if I don't sing it, to it, it helps. And then one trick I use is I'll just force myself to make a recording, and it will usually turn into something. So that would probably be my next step, would be to so how I would do that, because at this point I have so many melody ideas, probably what I would do is actually just try to sing over these chords. So I might just strum like that. And then I'll go back to my little riffs. One trick I like to do on the acoustic, you just pull the guitar towards you, you hear a little bend. Won't do it too hard, but. And I said to you, my friend, is this to be? I'm liking the deep. Thought I'd start again. This is the end. Thought we'd see a light up there in the sky. To this point, I'll just force myself to make a recording, turn into a song. Something will happen, or I'll throw a wrench in there and I'll force myself to change the key if it's not happening. Or what I like to do is, like, we've only been using C, B diminished, A minor, B diminished. What if we go to F now? It will sound pretty crazy. So probably go back to the open chords. There we go. Thought you were in love. Can't you stay there? Can you be a friend? Can't you see it's there? Something about being in love in the end, and then I'm a very visual person, so like I start to think of like imagery. So like is this about the end of the world? I don't really like love songs. I just sing stuff and stuff happens. So if it's a love song, I'm not just making a love song, I'm gonna think of something. So like, what if it's Into the World type thing? That could be interesting. Or lately I've been reading this comic where they get transported to another dimension. What if you're in another dimension or something? And I'll use this imagery in my mind as I'm playing. Even if it never turns into anything, it's just kind of more stimulating. It's kind of like your own little movie in your mind while you're playing. So, thought we were in love. Can we stay in love? I can't feel your hand. Is this something grand? I can't see your eyes. All I see is the sky. Now I feel alone. Is this the end? The end. Is this the end? We're gonna go to F. I don't know what it's gonna feel like. It's all sad right now. Is this the end? So anyway, that felt way different. So I would probably go that way and keep going. Like the chorus can have that kind of sad thing, and then it'll go there. And one thing I was doing, because I was imagining stuff, and I'm not really a trained singer or anything, but I can sing enough to convey what I'm trying to do. Because I was getting visual imagery going, this is a trick I use. Like everyone probably has their own tricks, come up with ideas. As I was imagining like this guy, probably from this comic I'm reading, his world's disappearing and he was in love, and then he realizes he's in another dimension and it's fading, or he's like getting pulled into another dimension. So there's tons of shows like this. It's not really an original idea, but then what if somehow the fragments of your person you love are falling to the ground? And then that was the visual image, and then what I'm trying to do is make the melody match the visual image, so like pieces falling, like ding, ding, like think of like pieces falling down. And then I was trying to go up with a melody, like da, 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 and then go back up. So whatever tricks you use, come up with ideas. And then one thing I always like to do, I have a lot of this on my channel, but YouTube tends to only show like stuff that fits the algorithm and popular songs, but I made a lot of like music videos for stuff I made. I find that super fun and inspiring, and it's weird because, at least for me, the visual imagery like helps my guitar playing. Like even if I was just sitting here and just jamming, like have no clue what's going on in my mind, but I was kind of imagining stuff ascending and descending. So do you need visual imagery to do that? Certainly not, but for me, like when I go watch people play live or watch any musician or song, I can kind of tell if it's coming from a place of like meaning and connection, or if it's just they're just jamming on notes. And a lot of people, it almost feels like they're just going through the scales, like they're literally going through the motions. Or as I see some shows, and you can tell like maybe they've played the song a bunch of times, but somehow they're going through something in their life or something. Somehow that music is connecting again. And that's what I like. And I tend to like bands like in their early years that have songs that are meaningful versus like a lot of bands I like when they're on year 20 and they're playing the same song. I feel like the raw energy and the story that led to that song is gone, or even whatever, the musical fun that they had. But sometimes you can tell certain bands they still love. It could just be the performance and entertaining others, and they always bring that energy. But some people, you can tell like they're lost in their own music, like not in a really good way, like they're experiencing something. And that's what I like to connect with. And so anyway, you could try that with the visual imagery. That's what works for me, or like tie it to some personal experience. I tend to not do that very much because for me, like you can keep reliving past experiences and stuff. I don't like music to do that. I don't think it's good. But I do like to abstract my experiences and then like play with them and sort of treat, in the same way like you can break up these notes and stuff, you can kind of do that with visual imagery. You can take pieces of experience like a song, like a story writer or something. But I'm kind of excited though, because the other day I was playing with this. Now I actually have a song, so I probably make up a song a day. Sometimes I post them on YouTube. I used to, but for me, that's how I learn stuff. I like write songs, and so I'd highly recommend if you're a more creative person to try making your own music, because I will never forget this now. Honestly, now I've internalized this. That's how my mind works. Like I have to turn it into something, and now I'll like have this diminished shape, and even the voicing actually already feels cool. And then I'm like, can you do it down here? The voicing is different, but diminished chord is cool too. Last thing I'll say, and then this will be over at around an hour. I doubt people will watch this all the way through, but if you did, good for you. Is when I used to be around like advanced musicians that were into jazz, you can use diminished to destabilize the key. So like if you're in a certain key, if you throw some diminished in there, it really like, you can start to get out of the key and into other keys. And same thing with 7 chords. I just didn't really like jazz. I still don't. Like I appreciate it. It doesn't move me like on an emotional level, but I'm impressed on a technical level. But I wonder if I can like also maybe change the key to get a C. I tend to, if I do a chord change in a song, it usually has to happen kind of naturally. I have songs I've made that do, but like I'm wondering if I can go like C and with the diminished. See what I just did there? Like I'm going like, I sometimes like to throw A major into the key of C. And so I was doing like a C, B diminished, B flat, A. So it sounds like it's going somewhere. So like in my mind, I'm thinking, all right, I don't use diminished very much. I like the way that song was going, just making. But also, what more can I get out of that shape? Sometimes like Nirvana actually has songs where they'll mix like B flat and A major into the key of C. Which I don't think he wrote those songs, but they're cool. I'd have to look back what song it was, but you'll see it. And B flat and C do work well on like classic rock too. If you do like a whole step down from the root and do a major, it sounds kind of cool. So I was like, oh, maybe. Because see, this looks like a B flat and it's descending. Could just go to the A minor, but what if you went to the A? Some chord there. It could be some other type of it. Basically, it's like C, diminished, B flat, A, and then it's going. I can do something off that F. I don't think what chord I could put a D minor. I could put an F, kind of would keep it within the key of C. I could put like a B flat. I could do a B. There would be a chord change. I can go. There we go. That'll be it. C, diminished, B flat, A. Something's happening there. I want to get up to that F. But anyway, anytime I learn something, I'll move it around, I'll make a song, I milk it basically for as much as I can. And then I also think, like, from playing guitar a lot, you're like, all right, if I'm going to use this shape more, what else could I do with it? So maybe I can destabilize and go down to the B flat, the A. There's probably more I could do, but that was what first came into mind. So anyway, that was a super long lesson, but like I said, that would have been like a lunchtime at the school I was at. I learned a lot of things, or hanging out with friends that were better. And that's how I learned it, even if you only absorbed like 10% of what I was doing. You know, just being around it. So we'll see if anyone finds this video. Unfortunately, YouTube likes when you do like other people's songs. That's how it goes, because you have to search for it. But hopefully it was useful. Thanks.